Yo, yo, yo. Hello, guys. Good to see you. Bunch of you already in the chat. Few of you still coming, I'm guessing. Let me quickly check if everything's working. Microphone seems to be. Everything else also. Nice, good shit. Mole Features and Enzo saying good evening. Good evening, guys. Good to see you. Today's gonna be like a shorter one because I feel like completely under the weather, so I'm just gonna take it easy. Do like half an hour to like 45 minutes or something. Because yeah, just been a struggle. I had like plenty of sleep tonight and then was like super tired in the like a couple hours ago and just had like a midday sleep for like a couple hours and still feel tired, so gonna take it easy. Does Don actually wear glasses or just this cartoon duck incarnation? I actually do wear glasses. Like, I do wear contacts from time to time, but most of the time glasses. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about, so we'll have our fun. Hope you guys don't mind it being a shorter round. But yeah, before we start, shout out to the sponsor of the show, which is FTX, formerly known as Blockfolio. They kind of have the best mobile app, in my opinion anyway, in crypto. So if you want to do like any kind of spot trading there on your mobile phone, it's pretty much the best place to go. And they also have excellent lending. So if you want to check that out, the links to that are in the description. And yeah, appreciate their support. Obviously also appreciate your support. Wassies when? I have no idea. I was promised Wassies yesterday. Maybe that's why I'm sick today, because I was so like hyped about Wassies yesterday, and now they're coming out today or even tomorrow. Maybe that's why. I'm blaming Loom on this one. Don, have we bottomed? I don't think so, but we'll talk about it. We shall talk about it. It's a pretty good bounce, and it's from a pretty good level. But yeah, we'll talk about it. Hey Don, thank the Lord we have you to help us make sense of this. I mean, if you're struggling with why this is moving as it's moving, right? And it's like very, very atypical kind of movement for crypto. It's, you look at this, right? And you're like, what the fuck is this shit? And you look at the SPX and then you see where it's from, right? So you see this, right? Like around midnight, this happened. And then around midnight, this happened. And then the low was around 9 in the evening on Bitcoin. And then you look at the SPX, and that was like, it set lows here. Also had like lows set a little bit earlier. But you get the point, right? This stuff basically just trades like the SPX. It's been trading a little bit on the weaker side of things, because if you look at this, we set a low here and then a low there. The SVX, we just set the low here and then a higher low here. So like Bitcoin's not really like outperforming much, but it's just basically we're trading the SPX. So if you like, if your system's starting to fail, or like if your kind of edge hasn't been working too well, that's the reason why. Like it's basically if you're short time frame trading this, you're short time frame trading the traditional markets, and that's not really the best way to go about it, in my opinion. Like you don't want to be short time trading the traditional markets. So yeah, that's kind of like, that's all of this, the lower time frame stuff. That said, like the higher time frame stuff actually looks hideous, in my opinion. The monthly looks really bad. We talked about this a bunch of times, where I was like, okay, you get like a nuke and then you get 2 up candles and then you continue the nuke. So far, I mean, that's at least somewhat like looks plausible, right? I don't want to be too much of a bear tart, given that we haven't closed below 45K yet on the weekly, but I mean, there's a good chance we will, right? And if that happens, I mean, my system starts flipping bearish. I actually front ran my system, shorted in the 47K area. just based on the Evergrande stuff in the traditional markets. We wrote about that in the newsletter. If you have kind of missed that, you should definitely subscribe to it, because that was pretty damn early to it. So yeah, that's basically like my entire thesis was that crypto looked weak, and then you get like the stock market kind of get a heavy blow due to like fundamental factors. And that was kind of my entire thesis. Didn't go heavy because I still have the tax issues, where it's like if I lose a trade, it's really hard to get my taxes back. So I gotta be like very, very confident that it's actually a good trade. But yeah, the weekly, I think as long as we close above 45, it's all good. It's pretty damn likely that we're gonna close below, as long as the traditional market kind of bearishness doesn't fade away, which could happen, right? The SPX has kind of gone down has kind of gone up only for like the last year, 2 years. It's just the reason why I'm like not as excited as others are to buy the dip immediately is that we've kind of made higher lows the entire way up, right? And then we've made a lower high, and this is where everyone is shouting buy the dip, right? And I don't like that. Like, this is legitimately the first time that the bulls have been invalidated on this entire rally since the March crash. And that's not something I want to be buying, right? Doesn't mean it has to crash back down. Like in general, like that never means that, even more so in like a super strong trending market. But it just means that you gotta be like at least somewhat risk off. And that's what I'm doing, right? I'm just kind of like trying to be risk off crypto, because basically like if you're trying to be risk off the traditional markets, you gotta be risk off crypto as well, because crypto is just kind of like trading as a leveraged traditional market would be. So yeah, that's kind of my entire thesis. I'm not too excited to kind of be bullish. That said, on the lower time frames, on the daily, for example, if we start showing strength, I'm gonna flip bullish, and quite aggressively so. So what does that mean? It would mean that we, one, kind of reclaim this level, and two, hopefully even reclaim this one. And I think at that point, we kind of left all of this consolidation behind us, right? Let's say this does something like this, goes up here. And I think at that point, it would just completely melt upwards. That's what I want to see, right? I don't mind missing out these like $3,000 towards like resistance, or like 4 above it, to play like 47 to 55, 60, 70, 80, maybe even higher, right? That's kind of my view on things, like given that the entire world is in uproar right now. I don't need to take on risk while I'm not entirely sure where it's gonna go. It feels like it should be dumping, honestly. Like my bullish invalidation was basically breaking below this red line here, which was 46. And that's what we've done. And until we kind of reclaim that, it just makes sense for me to be careful. Okay. Let me see what you guys have written. Black Swan event about to happen? We'll see about that. Yeah. I mean, maybe, maybe not. It's not like, and a bunch of people kind of seem to think that whenever you're bearish, you have to all in short. That's not the case, in my opinion, anyway. If you're like bearish on a sector that you're bullish on in general, you can just take a risk off and add it back on later. I don't think traditional markets are risk off yet. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you kind of feel like. For me, like whenever you have a market structure break, and this is 100% one, and we're like, if you want to like draw support resistance lines, I mean, it's basically at resistance right now. That's like, if this was a crypto chart, I'd get the fuck out and then rebuy much, much lower. Now it's not, and traditional markets generally head up, but it's like, I don't see like a good reason for like jumping into this. If you make new all-time highs, right, buy it and then expect like a parabola or whatever. But like this is the first time this has happened in almost 2 years, right? I mean, I could have actually calculated that easier by hand. But yeah, 500 days of higher lows broke 3 days ago. So, I mean, if that's not enough reason to kind of go at least a little bit risk off, and I mean, it's already been rewarded, right? So. The newsletter is awesome. I was surprised by its quality and the amount of content the first time I got it. Thank you. Appreciate that message, man. Yeah, I mean, Cred and I work pretty hard on it and try to make it as good as we can. It's kind of a mixture of both our styles, so it's not necessarily one-to-one what I would say or what he would say, but it's usually like, it actually like has been outperforming mostly both of us, so. Why 46? Why I find 46 important is because you want to get, basically, we had like a breakdown here, right? Similar, very, very similar to the one that we had when Coinbase, like coin launched in traditional markets, right? So we had that, broke down, built a base here-ish, rallied, and then broke down again, right? And if you start taking out this entire thing, like let's say you rally above here, this fractal is invalidated. I'm not a big fractal guy, but like this is pretty jarring fractal, right? Just looks one-to-one the same, just this one being a little bit smaller. And two, you actually, like everyone that longed in here, you rescue them. So like right now, like a bunch of people that bought here that were like euphoric at the highs and then held through the downturn, they're the ones that are trying to get the fuck out at this resistance, right? But if they're rewarded for, like if the people that are holding on from here are rewarded and it goes back up again, now you suddenly have a bunch of people that short at the bottom, or like at least down here at support, under pressure, and then the situation kind of turns itself around, and then you have the opposite situation where like bears are getting fucked, and then you can squeeze them, and then you can easily go to at least 50. But I'd be surprised. Like for me, it makes no sense to go to 50 and then just dump. Like I'd be very surprised if that happened. So if we go back above 46, I think like if anything, you get like a mini dump and then you go straight up, right? So that's why I could see us do this. And then what? Like, what the fuck do you do if you turn bullish at like resistance? I could not, like, I'd be very, very surprised if this happened. Just because the structure is a completely different one. So, and momentum is different, everything's different. Fed stop printing equals break market structure. I mean, the break in market structure is a fully technical one. The reason for this, I mean, I don't really care. But yeah, if they stop, like if they start tapering, could lead to lower prices. Who the fuck knows? Traditional markets aren't my thing. But right now, like that's basically what you're trading. I have a bunch of crypto people kind of be like, oh, I'm trading this the way I usually do, right? On the lower time frames. Just means that there's no crypto specific edge that they have. It's just like they trade the traditional markets, and that's fine by me, right? But like on average, most of the time, you're not gonna do too well trading lower time frames in traditional markets. That's like a very, very choppy, very, very kind of hard market to trade. How, for me, your opinion is very optimistic. I mean, yeah, if we break resistance, fucking moon it. And if we don't, doom it. That's kind of like my view. Now I'm gonna be looking at the daily close today. Like if we start, if this, like if the last leg here retraces and we start closing above, like below 42, that's gonna be insanely bearish. And I think tomorrow would be like another day where we just basically repeat this one. If we close above it, I could see us go sideways. So either like sideways in here, and then we either get a pop, or we get like further drop, or if we close below support, I think it's just mega dump time. Like you don't want to be in this market, in my opinion, if we close below 42.3 in that area, because that's the perfect bearish retest, and then you get like this kind of situation going where you have like, you know, where you have this double shoulder, head and shoulders. I mean, we've already have this head and shoulders, very similar to this one. And I mean, I'm not a pattern trader. For me, the lower high matters more, but like a bunch of people do care about the pattern, so I like to point them out. So we have head and shoulders here, broke to the downside. We had one here, broke to the downside. And if we start closing below this here, this just looks like a bearish retest of the neckline, which would be pretty bad, right? High energy stream, yeah, I'm sorry, dude. Oh, it's cred. Yeah, it's like I'm completely fucked. I'm sorry. It's hard to be like excited when you're completely drained of energy. Don't you think 38k could be a level to bid instead of 35? I'm not gonna bid anything. Like this might as well be gone. Like the first level, and this is like the reason why I'm much more like I'm leading bearish and I'm holding my shorts basically. The reason why is because I think if this doesn't hold, we go to 23. So it's basically this kind of trade. And I mean, this is basically a trade that I'm in, which is from like short from like the 47 range, stop loss like roughly there. That was the setup that I played. This is the setup, right? Now then we dumped, and I lowered my stop loss, and then we dumped some more, and my stop loss like somewhere in the area where I entered now. Because I don't think we should go back above like 46 if we're bearish. But yeah, if you want to be buying support, I mean, yesterday 40k, that was the area to buy. We talked about that on stream like pretty much for a month or two. That like as long as 40k holds, it's somewhat okay. But yeah, that's kind of like my trade right now. And I think the risk reward is just insane to not hold on to it, no matter what I think, like wherever this goes. But I'm more than happy to flip that position, basically break even. And it's a pretty nice, whenever you get like a pretty good entry, usually that happens where it's like, if it goes back above your entry, it's just the trade's wrong because structure breaks in the opposite direction, right? So for example, like if we go back above the highs here, you have a structure break, like you have a high, a lower high here. If you go back above here, you have a higher high, and that shouldn't happen when it's bearish, right? So in this instance, it's pretty nice that my entry is gonna be pretty much invalidation, and then I'll just flip the position around and do the same thing to the upside, which I'm more than happy with. So that's kind of my view on things. Pretty damn straightforward. Now this pump is pretty nice. It's even like on the support that we've had for days. Cred and I discussed this yesterday while we closed. But like for me, like given that I can't like get big size in on any kind of shorts, because like I said, Texas in the beginning, not worth it for me to trade these around. I just hold on, like play the swing position, and that's kind of my plan. Like go to like down here or flip the position and then swing above all-time high, because that's ultimately kind of what we're in for. Either like my complacency theory plays out, right? We have a lower high here macro, and then it just kind of starts rolling over, and then you have like a little bit of a bear market, and then you go back up again. Like, let's say we do something like that, go sideways for like a year or half a year, and then start creeping back up again, and then make new all-time highs into like what, 2022, 2023 maybe. Either we do that, or we just do the super cycle thing, go up here, mega moon, and then go to like 70, 80K, and then maybe we get like a massive bubble pop. I don't know. Either or, in my opinion, is pretty likely. Like, you're gonna get some volatility, and I'm just gonna play like, I think the chances of this being the complacency bounce are quite high. So that's why like I'm on the bearish side of things, but I think there's also really easy way to like have that idea invalidated, and that starts being invalidated around like 46.5, where it's like you get there, you make a higher high, maybe you dip back to support, and then you just shoot off. So there you go. That's my view. So pretty much up or down. I'm betting on down, but could go up instead. Who the fuck knows? Markets always kind of move like that, where it's like, if you can predict them, be much easier. And then like you look at this, right? And you see this, the treasury market, mega moons, 100% Bitcoin looks similar, but weaker. That's been kind of the nature of these moves in general. Like, crypto's been kind of shit in comparison. You can kind of see it even here, right? Don and I have the most unbearable DMs. It's like a legit a wild sewer. It's like Cred DMs me like every 2 hours, bottom in, bottom in, bottom in. And I always answer nope, nope, nope. And then I barefoot him because it's fun. It's really bad. Is a trade spot, trade or perp? Don? No, like it's a short, so can't be sport. Shorts are never sport. I wonder if 30K will act like 6K did. I mean, like the problem that I have right now is like people always like that. People assume like it's a given that we're gonna go to one price or the other, and I always have these discussions with people, and it's really fucking annoying. Where it's like I talk with bears and they're like it's 100% going there, and then I talk with bulls and they're like it's 100% going to like 100K. I'm like, fuck off. It's just not how markets work, right? If you're like 100% sure something is gonna happen, you're a fucking idiot, in my opinion. Because like only idiots have that kind of conviction in something. Now, sometimes that actually pays off for you. But yeah, doesn't really speak much about your intelligence, in my opinion. But like that's like when you see like someone like push their balance from nothing to like a shitload, that's the kind of conviction that you have to have. So it's like it's somewhat decent trade to have in crypto, I guess. Being completely full blown idiotic, it's the way to go. It's just like 99% of the idiots are gonna get blown out, but the 1%, they're gonna think that has to be the way things are done. First time in stream, simple and thorough explanation of your views. Thanks, appreciate that, man. I mean, I'm usually more kind of. I try to be more entertaining because I mean, right now it's really difficult, but happy that you're enjoying it, man. Turnip says 0. I tend to believe him. I mean, that's a stupid view too, but yeah. Wouldn't 30K be a better bid than 24K? Nah. Like, why would you bid 30K again? That's like, you have like, if you get anywhere close to that, you get anywhere close to 40K again, I think, right now. Like, let's say this 44K area does like resist price, starts rolling down again. If you buy this, I mean, I'd be very, very surprised if you make money off of it. like maybe a tiny bounce, but then you go down, and then you have like lows tested here, and these have been tested so many times that, I mean, this is just reckless to buy there. I think like a bunch of people have their stop losses there, and then it's like, have fun getting fucked. Like, I never want to be buying there. Like 40K is pretty much the last area. Like if you're a bull, you should have been buying yesterday. And if you're still a bull, I mean, you buy 42K and pray to God that it doesn't break. That's the only two areas that you can buy. And then you have like a pit of doom below, in my opinion anyway. The only thing that makes that view a little bit harder to have a lot of conviction in that view is that basically this is all traditional markets driven. And I mean, let's say the SPX drops like down here and then bounces. That takes Bitcoin like in the middle of somewhere here, right? Like Bitcoin would just crash here. And then if the SPX bounces really strongly, crypto can bounce as well. But if it's just crypto on its own, like just TA wise, like I don't think you would have any proper bounce in here. So yeah, that's kind of my view on things. I think that's more than plenty. Any questions to that before I kind of just nuke myself, go to sleep, capitulate on life? Look at funding rates. I wouldn't be surprised if short squeeze happens soon with everyone shorting this bearish retest created by macro FUD. The funny thing is, exactly the same thing was said up here. Bybit can never win. Bybit is like short, and then it nuked. It's not like, I mean, it could happen 100%. It's just like whenever people speak in absolutes, it's like if it was that easy, we'd all be millionaires, billionaires, and not trying to flip whatever Ponzi's for a living. I have a legit question. If 35 to 38K fails, do we disregard and bully on-chain analysts forever? No, they're just gonna say like this fails and crypto rolls over. What on-chain analysts are gonna say is like, okay, the whales are buying, but like there's FUD in the market, so like it's not doing anything. But this is like a once in lifetime black swan event, so like it's whatever. And then it goes in like in a couple of years bear market down here, and then it comes back up, and then they're gonna be like, I told you so. There's like the whales were buying. You can never win against on-chain analysts. It's just how it is. And people are always gonna eat it up too. They might be angry when like prices crash, but they're then gonna be saying when it goes back up, holy shit, they were actually right. But it's like crypto generally goes up. You don't need to read tea leaves and shit or believe in that to kind of make that argument. Don, how can I have a WASI? That was like, it's an NFT project Lou made and sold like a week ago. I don't even remember. My time, like everything's just messed up. But they're probably going to be on secondary markets like in a week or so. This is the most bearish I've seen Don going to 100% long here. I mean, I was a lot more bearish in here. And I was a lot more bearish in here, and I was a lot more bearish somewhere down here. And that trade got blown the fuck out. That one trade, I don't even remember. I think it was actually, I was bearish, I think, in here. And then I got fucked, it rallied. And then I got bearish in here again, flipped bullish, and then it ran up. Flip bullish in here and neutral for like the rest of it, like towards 20K, and then flip bullish for the rest. But yeah, there's a couple times, and it's not like whenever I'm bearish doesn't mean price has to go down, like you see here, where I was bearish and price mega rallied, took a cut there. in here it worked, in here it worked, and now I'm bearish again. Doesn't have to work though. Like if you, I see a bunch of people try to copy trade everything other people do, and it's like, just like look at what I'm saying. Think about, does that make sense to me? Does it not? And then think about what you want to be doing. If you're just copy trading, you're never gonna learn. And then, I mean, you're always gonna have worse entries. Like nowadays, like I share my stuff on stream here, like my entries, and I share it in Discord from time to time. But I don't really share much on Twitter anymore, right? So if you're just like, you're always gonna be late copy trading me. So, yeah, better kind of learn my system, or like at least kind of try to understand how I think, and then just front run me like the cunts did on Doge, and then made like 100x off of my entry. Fucking hell. All the classic I told you so. After 2 years, they probably pinned a tweet on the profile too. Yeah, that's the way to go. I mean, to be fair, like if you bullish crypto and then you say it's gonna go up and it goes up for years after, I mean, might as well as to say I told you so. That's not something that should be like celebrated by traders, right? You can celebrate that as an investor, and I don't really give a shit. But if you're selling like trading courses and shit, and you do hindsight and pretending shit that's not true, then I'm gonna despise you, because yeah, it's just I over the years I get more and more frustrated with people, right? Crypto just went from fucking 3K to 60K, and you still have paid groups, even though like everyone that kind of ran those should have made more than enough. That just kind of lopped their way into money from like their viewers or like their subscribers, which I'm not a big fan of. Then two, you have like all these cunts that kind of try to sell out their followers to get them into Ponzi's, where they make money straight up. And it's like, dude, this market went up so much. Everyone's so rich. Why the fuck do you have to do it? I don't understand. And yeah, with every year and how, like, the further price goes, the more frustrated I get with it. And it's the same thing with like these on-chain analysts that like sell their shit, their 100% strike rate system to people. And I'm like, I mean, I don't know, not a big fan. Like if you blow your shit up, if you blow your fund up, and then you run to your kind of following base and charge them money for your system, I don't understand. Shut up, newsletter scammer, worst $15 I've ever spent. I mean, if you're spending money for the newsletter credit, you're doing something wrong. Lol, you're talking about Willy Woo? I mean, one of the ones, yes. I mean, he's one of the bigger offenders anyway. Don, being a public figure, are you not worried people are going to target you with a hack or obtain your private info? Of course. It's just, I mean, guess why I don't have like a video feed in this? Like, I don't want to have people know how I look like. And OPSEC wise, I'm pretty safe, but obviously it puts you like in more risk. But if you're flexing your wealth in crypto, you're an idiot. Anyone that does it is just like stupid, in my opinion. When you see like people post their watches or like whatever on crypto Twitter, I just facepalm. It's so stupid, but I mean, people need to kind of flex their shit to feel good about themselves. And a lot of the people that do it, I really like, right? It's just like, it's beyond idiotic. And excuse my kind of candor, whatever it's called, my straightforwardness, because like I said, I'm fucking delirious right now. But yeah, not a big fan. Like, it just makes no sense. Risk reward wise, like what are you trying to prove, right? We all know, like everyone in crypto has made a bunch of money. So it's like, you don't need to flex your money. The only thing you're doing is putting a target on your back. We should unironically get him on the podcast. Willy Woo? Fucking hell. I don't know if I could talk with him. It's like, I know that it's just gonna be like a fucking, it's just gonna be like an advertising platform basically. And that's kind of like the problem with these people, that you give them any interaction, they kind of turn it around on you and get gullible people to kind of buy more of it. That's not really what I want to do. Gainsey loves flexing though, yeah, and I love Gainsey. It's just beyond stupid to do. So yeah, that's kind of like my view on all of it anyway. And I know that's a little bit hardline, but someone asked, so I answered. So that's Bitcoin, ETH. Nothing changed for ETH. This shit just going sideways in this massive range. We talked about this for ages. And then the other altcoins. Someone asked for altcoins. They're always gonna be reflexive. Like you see Bitcoin goes up because of tradition. It's kind of funny because the traditional market bounces, crypto goes up, altcoins go up. It's just how this game works. And then like this goes up a little bit, Bitcoin goes up a little bit more, this goes even more. And then the same thing, like the traditional markets kind of nuke, Bitcoin goes up, down, lower, and altcoins go even lower, right? So whenever you have a green day, the altcoins are gonna have a green day, and even against Bitcoin probably, like most of the time, like we're seeing right now. Same thing applies for red days, right? So if you wanna have like more leverage, basically, more funds to trade with, then trade altcoins, because you don't, like, let's say you have like, you haven't made it yet, you've got like 10 grand on your account that you want to trade with. There's going to be more opportunity in the altcoin space, but there's also a bigger chance that you lose it all. But then again, if 10K is like a couple months worth of your salary and you're trying to kind of make it big, the easiest way to go for it is like taking a little bit more risk. The only problem with that is that most people that do that, like you have like a 10 grand portfolio, you run it up to like whatever, a million. Crypto kind of does that to you sometimes. But you've only done it by trading altcoins, and you've only done it in a bull market, and then bear market hits and you go straight back to 10 grand. I've seen it a million times, right? Whereas like people that trade normally without like the added leverage of altcoins, they go from 10 grand to 50, and then they're really, really fucking sad because everyone else made a shitload, and then the market crashes and they're still at 50 or 100K, and their peers are below them. But I mean, that's just the way this game goes, right? So if you want to have quick gains, you want to be trading the altcoins, you just gotta know that at some point that's gonna stop, right? And then if you kind of try to force it at that point again, you're just gonna get shit on. So yeah, I mean, I started out with altcoins. I made most of my multiples trading altcoins, and then at some point I was just like, okay, this is way too bubbly. I'm not gonna trade altcoins anymore, and that was pretty lucky timing. So I avoided most of the altcoin bear market and just went through the Bitcoin bear market. So yeah, that's kind of the best way to go about it, but it's not easy, and it involves some sort of luck anyway. So what do you think about the ICT course? I haven't taken it. Probably somewhat okay. I mean, ICT, probably a really bad trader, from what I've seen. Like, I've seen his results, and they've not been really good in any kind of trading competitions that he's taken. But that isn't really, like, trading competitions aren't one-to-one how normal trading is usually done. But if you blow up like a couple times in trading, like in trading competitions, it's usually a sign that you're just not trading properly. But I mean, a bunch of his system is similar or somewhat similar to what I do, so probably not bad. So yeah, that's my view on things. I'm really fucking tired, so like I said, I'm gonna stop early. Hope you enjoyed that. Big shout out to FTX for sponsoring the show. like I said at the beginning of the stream, their mobile stuff is excellent. So if you're at all interested in that, I wouldn't bother with the rest. FTX pretty much does it best. And if you want to check that out, the links are in the description. And yeah, thanks for coming by. Sorry for like the unenthusiastic kind of stream. Tried my best. Like I said, today it's like just whenever men are sick, they're gonna cry about it all day, and I feel like today is my day. So that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, thanks for coming by. See you guys maybe on Friday or tomorrow or something. We'll figure something out. Like the Friday stream isn't scheduled yet, but we'll figure something out. Bye bye.